Hey everyone, and welcome to Key Source. I'm Cassie Johnson with Key Realty, Yoder Team, and today I'm sitting down with Yoder, our team leader, to discuss a conversation that I'm having pretty much daily with my clients, family, and friends. So I'm sure you've heard that this market cycle we're in right now is a seller's market. And yeah, so this is for anyone who's considering selling and buying. Again, same region, same market cycle. And we're actually going to break this conversation down into three parts. So what you're watching right now is part one, and we're going to be just discussing the general idea, why you wouldn't want to sell. And the second part is going to be discussing whether or not the housing market is a bubble that's about to burst right now. We think this is going to be a very important topic to unpack, so we've separated out in its own video. And then part three is going to be talking about creative solutions for sellers who are looking to sell right now. So let's hit it. Hey John, how are you?
Great, Cassie. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm super eager to get into this discussion with you. Again, I feel like I'm having various versions of this conversation daily in my business.
Right.
Particularly with would-be sellers. They all kind of share the same concern right now, which is whether or not it is actually a good time for them to sell, just because that turns them into one of the many buyers competing for good homes in the market right now. I do want to get rolling into this conversation and ask you whether or not you think it's a good time to sell, and if so, why?
Sure. Well, I definitely think it's a great time to sell, Cassie. Homes are selling well over appraisal in many cases, certainly much higher than they have been selling in the past few years. Just to take the Knox County 2019 numbers compared to 2020 numbers, we're up 10.4% from 19 to 20 in terms of home values across the board. So what we're seeing is very strong price appreciation across the board, and that makes it a great time for sellers. So on the flip side, for buyers, it's a great time to be a buyer from the standpoint of being able to lock in an outstanding interest rate. Historically speaking, the interest rates right now are unbelievable. And, I think it's a great time to buy from that perspective. The other thing that can happen with these great interest rates is that people are able to get into a bigger, better home right now for basically the same payment that they may have for a loan that they took out, let's say 3 or 4 years ago, when rates were seemingly good at the time, right, but higher than they are now. So if you purchased 3 or 4 years ago and you haven't refinanced, you may be in a position to move up and keep your payment right about the same. So I know that you and Nate experienced this. You want to tell our listeners some more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We took advantage of this opportunity. We saw it last year and moved on it quickly. And yeah, the payment, seriously, down to like dollars difference for, like you said, more and a better house in a community that fits us better. And to tie this into that appreciation potential that you're talking about, we're in a home that now that is valued much higher than the home that we were in before. And so, yeah, that appreciation percentage, the potential there is a lot more powerful for us. Awesome. Another objection that I've heard multiple times this spring is that you mentioned before, it's a great time to earn more profits, maybe even over appraisal value on the sale. But a lot of people are concerned that those additional potential profits are just going to roll into potentially overpaying for their next home. And I get it, but I want to know, is there a different way to look at this situation, and how is it still worth it to go through that process, in your opinion?
Right. Right. So it is true that in the current market, you're going to get more for your home. You're also likely going to pay more for your next home compared to a year or so ago or more, right? I think anytime in an up market, that's the case. So we need to look at the opportunities that are in front of us versus wishing that, the good old days would somehow come back, because I don't know that that's a realistic expectation right now. But we'll get into that a lot more in the next video, talking about whether or not the current market is a bubble, right? But, I think the big consideration that people need to look at is, does my current home fit my lifestyle, fit my lifestyle goals? If your current home is a great fit for your lifestyle and your lifestyle goals, then it really doesn't matter if you have a ton of equity right now, or you don't have a ton of equity right now. Like, good fit's a good fit, right? Like, there's no reason to move if it's a great fit.
Right.
If it doesn't fit your lifestyle goals, can you easily modify it to something that will? Or do we need to be looking at something else? You know what I mean? Trying to move to a home that fits your lifestyle, that fits your goals, that's able to accommodate that, the dreams that you have for yourself and your family. So I think that if people are more focused on lifestyle and a little less worried about the market, that's the right headspace to be in. So I think that's kind of the direction that I'm trying to point my clients. And then, we try to figure out how to make the financial piece work for their specific situation, given their goals, right? So again, another reason that it's a great time to buy in this market, going back to your earlier point, is that as you move kind of up in value, you're buying a bigger home, it's worth more. So that appreciation cycle that we're in right now is going to benefit you more because, you're starting out with a larger base. So I think, there's some good reasons to buy right now. We just want to try to find a way to do it without putting our clients under unnecessary pressure, right? So I know you and I have talked to people who, for whatever reason, decided to put the house on the market without really knowing for sure what their game plan was for where they were going to go. That can be a really difficult situation for people. We really don't want to see people without a solid plan for where they're going, because we know that the house can sell, right? We know that the house can sell quickly and for top dollar. So we really want a solid game plan in place. So we're trying to use some really creative strategies to help people facilitate maybe a buy first and then sell later concept, right? Because it's just much more convenient, much less stressful for everyone to be able to work that model. So we're using things like bridge loans, home equity line of credit, maybe a suitable housing contingency. We don't love that, but we can build that into the contract in some situations. Yeah. So everybody's situation is a little bit different. That's why it's so important for our listeners to be in touch with a really good real estate professional who's able to create a customized plan for them.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense, John. And I am, again, to plug the rest of the series, again, I'm so excited for video 3, where we really unpack a lot of that. Yeah, and I also am glad that you brought up that idea of pressure and alleviating that as much as we can. I think it's really important to recognize that there is a lot of unnecessary pressure in this current market.
Yeah.
Even, and again, like I said before, the panic messaging really adds to that. I've heard also from a lot of clients this idea that I've got to sell right now, like it's now or never, or I'm going to miss out on an opportunity. What would you say to people dealing with that kind of pressure and that kind of mindset?
I'm really concerned about that messaging, Cassie. I'm very, very concerned. I don't think it's fundamentally sound. And I'm super excited to get into that more as we talk about, the macroeconomics behind the current market, like why we are where we are. I really think that people can just take a step back and breathe a little bit and make a sane game plan for bringing their property to market. I think that makes a lot more sense than just trying to rush into it, maybe kind of do a halfway job or something. I mean, we want to really be able to bring the property to market in the best possible way, because they're going to need to maximize value on the sell side so that they're really in a position to make the strong offer they need to on the buy side.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, well, I think that we really established in this video that there are good reasons to sell. There are also bad reasons to sell. But I do think that really fundamentally the shift that needs to happen here for homeowners is to really figure out whether it's a good time for them to sell. And
Right.
all of this really takes, like you said, professional consultation with a realtor who really understands the homeowner's needs and objectives. So, yeah, well, John, I am really thankful for your time today, and you've certainly given us a ton of valuable information to consider when it comes to this topic. So thank you.
Thank you, Cassie. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, of course. All right, well, guys, like I said, this is part one of a three-part series. This information can be a very powerful tool for you as you're making decisions about what might be your biggest financial investment. So I hope that you'll subscribe and watch part 2 and 3, and we will see you next time.